What if the most genuine kind of love isn't the one that begins with fireworks and passion, but the one that finds its way back, even after being lost? Some love stories aren't born from chance. They're written long before we live them. Written not in ink but in stars. Long before two people meet, there may be a silent, invisible force connecting them, an unbreakable thread woven through time and space. This thread is not made of logic or physical attraction, and it certainly isn't limited by circumstances. It's a force stronger than explanation, a magnetic pull between two souls that somehow recognize each other, beyond memory, beyond ego, even beyond life itself. When two souls are truly meant to be, no matter how many twists life throws their way, missed chances, broken hearts, years of silence, they are quietly moving toward each other. And eventually they reunite, not by accident, but because something far greater than themselves is guiding their steps back home. In this video, we're going to dive deep into this mystical experience. We'll explore how Carl Jung's analytical psychology helps us make sense of this strange, powerful connection. One that defies reason but feels more real than anything we've known. Prepare to see love from a completely different perspective. Not just romantic, but symbolic, soulful, and above all, transformative. If you believe that destiny has a way of reuniting those who are truly meant to find each other, let your voice be heard in the comments below. Because the truth always finds a way. Carl Jung believed that when two destined souls meet, their love is not rooted in simple compatibility or physical chemistry. It's not just about shared interests or fleeting attraction. Instead, it's a deep reunion, one that takes place in the inner world, in the vast, mysterious landscape of the unconscious mind. According to Jung, these connections awaken something ancient within us. They stir archetypes, universal symbols and inner blueprints that exist in every human psyche. Among these, the Anima and Animus are especially important. The Anima represents the inner feminine in men, and the Animus the inner masculine in women. When two souls recognize each other on this deep level, they're not just falling in love, they're reuniting with the other half of their own inner world. This encounter is not guided by the ego, the part of us that wants to control, label, and explain everything. Number it comes from the self, which Jung described as the true center of our being, the core of who we really are. Meeting a destined soul is often the spark that ignites the journey of individuation, the sacred psychological path where a person becomes whole, integrated, and truly themselves. But let's be clear, this kind of connection is not without struggle. In fact, the deeper it goes, the more it reveals. Not just beauty and joy, but also pain, shadows, and emotional rawness. Jung's theory of the shadow tells us that every person has a hidden side, a collection of fears, desires, and wounds we've suppressed or denied. When two souls connect on a destined level, they don't just see each other's light, they see the shadows too. And in that reflection they are challenged, not to walk away, but to grow. This isn't a love story built for comfort. It's a love story built for transformation. These two souls don't just share laughter or passion. They awaken parts of each other that have long been asleep. They help heal old wounds that no one else could reach. They bring each other back to life in ways no one else could. From a Jungian perspective, such a reunion is not a romantic coincidence. It's a symbolic event, an activation of the soul's deepest yearning to return to wholeness. When Jung spoke of the self, he wasn't talking about the surface version of who we think we are. He was referring to something much deeper, our true essence. But this self must be uncovered, rediscovered, and integrated throughout life. And sometimes it's another person, the destined soul, who who becomes the key to unlocking it. The first time we meet such a person, we might feel something strange yet familiar, a sense that we've known them forever. This can happen even when it's our very first meeting in this life. The feeling isn't based on shared history, but on something archetypal, something eternal. It's as if the soul remembers. This kind of recognition bypasses time, language, and logic. It awakens us in a way that nothing else can. The other person becomes a living symbol of something within us, a mirror of our hidden self. We don't just see what we want in them, we see who we are, or rather, who we are meant to become. Love, at this level, is no longer just an emotion. It becomes a bridge, connecting our conscious life to the vast, unexplored unconscious. It connects our past selves to our future selves and creates a sacred space for transformation to begin. But this awakening isn't always gentle. Often, it shakes us to the core. It forces us to question everything we thought we knew about ourselves, love, and life. It triggers internal storms. But these storms are not signs of destruction. They are signs that something profound is unfolding. The self is rising. And in its rise, it asks us to shed illusions, let go of our masks, and step into the light of truth. And in this truth, nothing stays the same. True love, the kind that echoes through lifetimes, is not only born in moments of light. It is also chosen again and again in the depths of darkness. Destined souls do not come together by accident. Their love is not just a story of two people, it is part of something ancient, something larger than the individuals themselves. It awakens a universal memory that lives deep within all of us. Carl Jung called this place the collective unconscious, a timeless realm that exists beneath our personal thoughts and memories. In this vast psychological ocean live archetypes, primordial patterns, symbols, and energies that have shaped human experience for thousands of years. Among these, there's perhaps no archetype more powerful, more enduring, or more deeply felt than that of eternal love. This archetype of eternal love is not a fairy tale or a fantasy. It has shown up again and again in myths, stories, and legends throughout human history, from the Greek tale of Eros and Psyche to Romeo and Juliet and beyond. These stories tell us something vital, that there is a kind of love that transcends time, distance, pain, even death itself. A love that is not born of the surface but of the soul. So when two people meet and feel an instant, profound connection, it isn't just chemistry or coincidence. It's symbolic. They are living out a myth, whether they realize it or not. Jung taught us that myths are not just ancient tales from the past. They are active forces in the psyche. They live through us. So when you feel that you've known someone forever, when synchronicities start to multiply, when destiny seems to place someone in your path again and again, it may be the eternal love archetype coming alive in your story. This love calls to something deeper than attraction. It awakens our soul's longing for union, for integration. It isn't just about finding the other half. It's about seeing reflected in someone else the parts of yourself you had forgotten, repressed, or never known. But Jung also gave us a powerful warning. If we are not aware of the archetypes we are living, we can become possessed by them. When we blindly idealize eternal love, we may start expecting perfection, fantasy, or salvation from another person. That can lead to disappointment, frustration, and emotional chaos. Yes, the archetype is real, but it must be lived consciously. The love between destined souls is not a flawless script. It is a sacred path. It requires presence. It demands maturity. It asks us not to escape into dreams, but to walk awake in them. When we recognize that we are part of a symbolic journey, when we see our own story as a living myth, we can experience it with much more depth and far less illusion. In the symbolic language of the soul, time itself becomes different. Falling in love deeply can feel like stepping out of ordinary time. That's because the archetype of eternal love doesn't obey linear logic. It follows the rhythm of the soul. And on the soul level, separation is not always a tragedy. In fact, it is often part of the journey. Just as the hero in a myth must leave the familiar and face trials to return stronger, so too do soul connections go through phases of closeness and distance, harmony and rupture. These periods of separation are not the end, they are the alchemy that transforms the connection. Jung taught that the self, the deepest part of our psyche, works silently behind the scenes. It moves people, moments, and even separations like pieces on a chessboard, not to punish us, but to awaken us. Every pause, every silence, every wound has a purpose. They are all part of a sacred unfolding. When two souls are destined, their reunion doesn't happen simply because they want it. It happens when they are ready. Psychically, emotionally, spiritually, each must walk through their own shadow. Each must learn to stand alone. Each must begin to love not from emptiness or need, but from wholeness. And so, distance becomes a symbol too. It forces us to go inward, to let go of the fantasy that someone else will complete us, to reconnect first with the truth of who we are. Often, the pain of separation brings to the surface wounds we didn't even know we were carrying: abandonment, fear, loneliness. But these feelings are not punishments, they are invitations to grow. Many soul connections begin with overwhelming intensity. There's passion, mystery, synchronicity, but eventually the mirror begins to crack. The projections fall away. The person we once saw as a savior begins to reflect our unresolved pain. This is the turning point, the sacred crossroad. Do we run, or do we stay and face what's rising within us? True love doesn't vanish in discomfort. It transforms through it. Separation is not the end. It's the sacred pause before rebirth. It allows both souls to reassemble themselves with clarity and strength. Jung called this individuation, the process of separating from the false self, from the conditioning of the past, from the patterns we inherited but never chose, and yes, even separating from the illusions we projected onto each other. But here's the miracle. When love remains present through absence, when connection survives without control or dependency, then something truly spiritual begins to emerge. Eternal love, in its highest form, is not attachment. It's loyalty of the soul. It's the quiet, unshakable knowing that even if we're apart in space or time, the bond remains. It evolves, it deepens, and in many cases it returns. But when it returns, it is different, wiser, stronger, not built on illusion but on shared truth. The pain of the past doesn't disappear, but it is transformed. The time apart is no longer just absence, it becomes part of the healing. And when two souls reunite from that place, it is no longer just romantic, it becomes sacred. Soul love follows a rhythm that resembles the breath, an expansion and contraction, a meeting and a letting go. It teaches us that presence and absence are not opposites, they are necessary partners in transformation. Time, which once seemed like a barrier, is revealed as a companion of destiny. It shapes us, teaches us, humbles us, and finally brings us back to what matters. Those who can endure the silence, the longing, and the discomfort of distance often find that they were never truly apart. Because the bond between two destined souls is not measured by proximity, it is felt in the soul. And once that kind of recognition has happened, it never truly fades. It evolves, it matures. It may go quiet for a time, but it is never lost. Because true love, the kind written in the stars, is not about never parting. It is about remaining connected even when life requires distance. It is about knowing, deep within, that something greater is at work. Some connections don't follow logic. They don't obey time. They rise from a deeper place, a place that cannot be touched by the world. And in the end, this love doesn't come just to comfort us. It comes to awaken us, to help us remember who we are, to heal, to transform, to lead us closer to the soul's deepest truth. If these words have stirred something within you, trust that feeling. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share this message with someone whose soul might be quietly waiting to hear it. And don't forget, click the video on your screen now to continue this journey. What is meant to be always finds a way.